somebody else, well, I wish I could, but I could never do that. And then we hear about the people that do the things, we go, man, how are they able to do that? How did the guy in the wheelchair climb to the top of the Empire State Building on the outside? Huh? Oh yeah, he did. Now if he can do it, why can't you do it? How did the guy that was born with nothing, not even knowing who his mother and father were, end up becoming a multimillionaire? Because he couldn't. How did Bill Wilson, who was abandoned by his mother when he was 7 years old and who never even knew who his father was, end up starting an inner city ministry that reaches thousands upon thousands of children? He even became a Christian later on, 7 or 8. How does that happen? Because they didn't know they couldn't. I remember years ago I heard a story where a math professor had to come and put on an equation on the blackboard. He wrote the equation on the blackboard and says, anybody that can solve this, I'll automatically give you your degree. What he had told the students ahead of time, he says, this is an equation that cannot be solved. Math minds have been working on this for however long, and this is an equation that cannot be solved. He wrote the equation. As he was writing the equation on the blackboard, one of the students walked in late. As he said, anybody that solves this, I will give you a degree. That student went home and came back the next day with the answer.
Wow.
He didn't know he could do it. Yeah, he was able to do it. See, until Roger Bannister broke the records for the mile, it couldn't be done. The experts all said nobody can run a mile that fast. Their physical body would give out, their heart would stop, the oxygen wouldn't come to their brain. Nobody can run a mile that fast. Once he ran it, within a year, 3 others ran the mile. Now it's been done. The mentality changed. What is your mentality? Do you have the lack mentality? Do you have the defeatist mentality? Nobody likes me, nobody's going to help me, I can't do it, so I'm just going to sit here and feel sorry for myself. So you've got to look at your thinking. You've got to see what influences your thinking, because everything that's going on in your life will be traced back to how you think. Everything. How do you think? Everything in your life can be traced back to how you think. Thinking has to be by the Word of God. If you're not sure how you think, listen to yourself talk. You just get quiet here a while. I'm getting close to home. If you don't know how you think, then listen to yourself talk. What do you say? Are you always looking at the worst case scenario? Oh no, I got bit by a bug, this could be infected, my arm could swell up, you could break out pussing by tomorrow morning, you're going to have to take the whole thing off the elbow. Yeah, there's people like that. Oh no, I couldn't possibly go outside because there's pollen in the air and my ear or whatever is going to swell up and I'm going to choke, and before you know it, I can lay on the sidewalk flopping like a dead fish. I don't guess it's not dead yet. Huh? What kind of thinking do you have? Listen to yourself talk. Do you see the worst case scenario? Or do you see this, hey, this is just a temporary bump that we're going to pass on? Because if you're seeing it as the worst case scenario, you're going to stop right there. And you're never going to go past it. If you see this as just another bump that we're going to have to get past, then all of a sudden it's no longer an issue. Yeah, it's a little bump, enjoy the ride. Kids were younger, we used to take the old Pontiac out in the hills, find ourselves a hill and head for the top of that hill as fast as we could because we knew when we went over there, going to go, ah! Cheap rides. Cheaper than the fair. What's your mentality? What are you talking about? Are you the person that sees the worst, or are you the person that sees the best? Oh yeah, it's too hot. It's like 30 degrees out there. Everybody's going to sunburn. Everybody's going to have a sunstroke tomorrow. By tomorrow morning, everybody's going to be sick in bed because of this heat. Hello? And there's people like that, and they're irritating. Nobody likes to be around them. Why? Because they're so negative. Or you're the person saying, hey, it's only 30. I hear that in Colombia today it's 42. Glad we're not there. We got water, we got breeze, we got a beautiful day. Are you a pessimist or an optimist? You see the glass half empty, do you see the glass half full? Or are you the one that just say, oh, still not enough? I'm amazed at how many faith people confess that they cannot eat, drink, or do certain things because of how horrible results they're going to have. So the Word of God sown in your heart can change your thinking. When you sow the Word of God in your heart and you start speaking out the Word of God, it will change the way you start thinking. Oh, we can't do that. We can't do that. We can't do that. Shut your evil report. The Word of God says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Who strengthens me? I just got to find the way. See, the early disciples, they got to the middle of the lake, and they said, we're drowning. We can't do that. We're drowning. It's over. It's finished. The ministry that was supposed to be so glorious is done. Lord, don't you care that we're drowning? He said, you have little faith. I didn't say go to the middle of the lake and drown. I said go to the other side. You may have to find a different way to get to the other side than you thought originally. But that doesn't change the destination. Our destination is to live in the fullness of God. I'm often going to stop here in that second point. I had great faith when I wrote this. I thought I could get this done in one morning.
It's a 4-part message.
Now I'm going to come back next week so you can do the rest. So the first step is you've got to have the Word of God. The second step is your thinking. The Word of God is going to affect your thinking. And that's why the Word becomes so important, because as you think is how you will be. Now if you see yourself defeated, beat up, put down, you're going to live that way. Now if you see yourself as having the mind of Christ, as being an overcomer, as being quite capable of doing all things, you will live that way. Now that doesn't mean you don't run into a brick wall. There's times you do scrape your nose when you hit that brick wall. But guess what? You just, oh, I missed the doorway. I got to start again. The door was there. I thought it was here, silly me. So I get up and I go that way now and find the door, and away we go. But if your thinking is messed up, well, your actions are going to, oh, we're going to get back to that next time. We'll stop here. Father, I thank you for the opportunity to share your word. I thank you for the truth that is found in your word. I ask that you help us to apply this truth to our hearts and to our lives, to live it. I pray, Father, each person able to move along the path, take the steps that are necessary to live in your prosperity.